Let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. This is the fourth session, and today we're talking about developing a learning mindset. And I'm excited to be back with you here. And to start off today, I want to start off with a little story, and that is this belt here, this white belt that sits on top of my bookcase. I used to study and take up the martial arts called judo. And I did this for a couple of years and um, got to the rank of brown belt, competed for a little while. Judo is referred to as the gentle way. And if you're familiar with judo, it's anything but gentle because there's a lot of throws and you land on a very thin little mat. And your body the next day doesn't really feel too gentle afterwards. But anyway, it was a great experience. And at times I flirt with the idea of getting back into something like that. But I share that with you because they were talking about the learning mindset. And judo was founded by a gentleman by the name of Jigoro Kano. And it really became kind of that cornerstone of where a lot of martial arts came out of. There was jujitsu came out of that. And I'm sure if you've heard of the, mixed martial arts, UFC, that's a lot of jujitsu came out of that. So it kind of started with judo. And what was interesting about Jigoro Kano, the founder of judo, is when he died, he wanted to be buried in his white belt. And the reason why is because his whole mindset of never stop learning. And I love that. Here's somebody who mastered a particular sport. He founded it, but yet he wanted to be buried, and he was in his white belt because he was constantly learning, and he had many advanced degrees. Jigoro Kano had many doctorate and master degrees and was always learning, was always trying to get better. And I love that as an example for us, regardless of whatever profession we're in, whether we're an association, whether we're the executive director, whether we're in real estate, photography, a business owner, a VP of sales. And I just think that's just such a wonderful model. So I don't even know where my other belts are, but this is the one that I've kept, and it just sits on top of, like I said, my bookcase, because it reminds me to begin the day of always keep learning, always keep growing. And so just a little reminder there. Also, this quote right here came to me today as I was preparing for this session on learning. What does it mean to have a learning mindset? Well, the more that we believe we know, the less learned we become. And I love it from the standpoint of the more we believe that we know something, the more that we rely on, oh, I've got my PhD. Oh, well, people told me I'm smart my whole life. Oh, I've got my doctorate degree in this. And the more that we think in that realm, the more it actually handicaps us. Because then what happens is we answer our own questions. A lot of times we don't even attempt something because we say, oh, well, yeah, I can't do that. Or, oh, well, yeah, this can't get done. And that is amazing. One of the things that my dad always shared with me, and my dad, he has his doctorate degree in education, but he was a big believer in the learning mindset and always growing, always learning something. He would say, son, don't answer your own question. And I think that's a big thing, is oftentimes we're stymied, we're stopped because before we even attempt something, before we do something, oh, that can't be done. We really, take ourselves short and we don't even really attempt something. So very powerful in this. And this leads me to this curious mindset. And my dad was always very curious, and having a curious mindset, being curious, I think is about having that learning mindset. How do you constantly learn and grow and develop? Well, just stay curious. Stay curious like a child. This is a picture of my daughter, Eliana, and my wife, I think, captured this photo. And this just curious image, smile that she has just kind of, to me, says it all about curiosity. And she was, just playing around and just put on my wife's hat here. And I think that's really what it takes, is we all, to remind ourselves, is we all have that inside of us, that inner child, that the curiosity, and it comes to us in ways of ideas. You'll get ideas sometimes when you're in the shower. You'll get ideas when you're going for a walk, at nighttime. I mean, whatever it is. And the key thing for you is when you get an idea, don't discount it. Don't, oh, well, we tried it before. No, write it down, capture it. That's how we stay in the frame. That's how we take the learning mindset and actually apply it, is by staying curious and then by capturing those ideas. I keep a little notepad by my nightstand. I also keep at times, my phone by my nightstand. I put it on airplane mode because there'll be times when I get an idea and it's easier to just jot it down on my phone. Sometimes I'll get up, and I'll start writing something down. But that's a great thing, is to stay curious. That helps us in that learning mindset. Okay. A lot of times we stop being curious and we stop learning when we get an idea and then we completely shut it down without even capturing it. So that's why I say is when you get your ideas, write them down, capture. It's a great way to keep us in that curious mindset versus the closed mindset. The closed mindset is, oh, I've learned it, I know it. And that's a sad place to be. Regardless of your success, a little short story is I was with a family friend um, uh, back a couple months ago, and we were at his house, beautiful house, one of his second homes in the mountains. And I was saying, hey, what good books are you reading? Are you reading any good books or anything? And he's like, no, he's like, I stopped reading when I was like around 34. And I was like, why did you guys? Like, well, I kind of figured out I've kind of known it all. I kind of know it all. And it was like, it really set me, really was really intriguing. And that individual has kind of had come across some current hardships in his life where it's like, yeah, if you would keep reading, keep learning, they would probably really help you at times. So a lot of times our ego gets in the way. And then when that ego gets in the way, and if we've achieved some type of success, whether it's monetary or whatever, we think that we don't need to learn anything. And so it's a great thing for us to keep up to keep reading. Yeah. And so if you put stuff in the chat box, I see people putting comments in the chat box. That's excellent. So whatever's landing, you can put that there in the chat box. Another element of this curious mindset is this idea of just this continuous improvement. And you might have seen this back in I think it was probably in the late 80s where it really kind of the term Kaizen, or maybe 90s, started really to become popular in certain industries, particularly in manufacturing, lean manufacturing, Six Sigma. Well, this term Kaizen, right, a Japanese term meaning continuous improvement. I took a picture here of my car, my Toyota. Um, the number one most popular car, this is a Toyota Avalon, is the Toyota Camry. And you don't have to be, just next time you're driving, just look at all the Toyotas on the road. And it's incredible. It's like, we've had Ford and Chevy and all these, American institutions. What happens? They got comfortable. Our car industry, car manufacturing got comfortable. What happened? They stopped improving. And so then you see they got comfortable. Somebody else came along with a better product and with a different philosophy. And now, I mean, for those of you that drive Toyotas, you know that, man, they're a very, very reliable car. Yeah. And it was rewarded in terms of consumer. Now the consumer, like I said, the Toyota Camry is the most popular car in the United States today. And that's where, and so why that is because of this, is because of the philosophy behind that, which was Kaizen, constant, continuous improvement. So once again, it's a great thing in our lives as well, that, how can we apply this is, oh yeah, regardless of the success I've had, regardless of my accomplishments, I can continue to learn, I can continue to improve. My last example that I want to share with you is the Super Bowl champs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I happen to live in Tampa and got to experience that. Just the energy here, being in Tampa, being 4 miles north of the stadium. Here's somebody, Tom Brady, he's 43 years of age, where, basically at the tail end of his career, but still approaches it with that learning mindset, still approaches with, how can I get better? How can I get, and that's very evident. I just picked up his book, The TB12 Method, and not from like the physical standpoint, but just seeing some of the mindset, how in which he thinks. And his goal is always to get better. And his goal, one of the things that he says in the book is sustained peak performance. He's like on a quest for sustained peak performance. And that really comes out. And so when you have somebody like that, that has a philosophy, a belief of sustaining peak performance, then when he comes to Tampa, like he did this year, within a matter of months, in under a year, now Tim Bay's a Super Bowl champion. It's like, oh my gosh, because now other people around him now start to adopt the same principle, which is continuous improvement, sustained peak performance. So it's a great example to have this learning mindset, regardless of the success that you've had in your life or anything. So it's a wonderful example to have. Now, another thing with peak performance and a learning mindset is deliberate practice. This was talked about, if you want to learn more about it in depth, talked about it in the book Grit by Angela Duckworth. I think of deliberate practice as you're trying to master something. I had my wife, by the way, take a picture of me doing this today because I didn't have a picture. This is the kettlebell. It's me doing a movement called the Turkish get up movement. If you don't know what that is, you can Google that and look it up. Basically, you're getting up from the ground floor with the kettlebell in a standing position. And I've been doing the kettlebell now for a number of different years. And the way I approach it is just that same thing. Is I'm always constantly looking, how can I get better? And so what does deliberate practice look like? Well, one is you got to think about what you're doing. So I'm not listening, to a podcast or something else. I'm really thinking about how my body is moving. So I'm really thinking about this movement. Second thing is I've recorded your progress. I'll take notes afterwards. Okay, I did this number of Turkish get-ups with this weight. And then number three is I review and I can say, okay, where can I improve? Okay, I can improve my left heel. Okay, I see that that needs to be angled a little bit more. I can improve, okay, come up to my elbow and not my shoulder. So I can really break down the movement as well. And then researching and learn more. There's tons of articles. I like to look at YouTube videos of people doing a Turkish get up, and I do it very slowly and deliberately, and I watch it over and over again, and that helps me with this and master this movement. So the deliberate practice of it as well. You'll see this movement, this Turkish get up movement. It's very popular too in a lot of magazines. Is why I know my wife was mentioning that this movement, was, I think one time, 6 or 7 different times she said, hey, this was in all the magazines I've been reading. And yeah, it's a tremendous movement. It's a total body movement, and it's just fantastic. If I had to pick one exercise, I would definitely pick this exercise to master. And like I said, deliberate practice, ongoing, continual. So awesome. Awesome. All right. Very good. And just anything on the chat box. Very good. Yeah, definitely. It can be definitely challenging. It's more challenging as I've got this is my little guy, my little bell here, 24 kilograms. So it's about 53 pounds, 53 pounds. Then my big guy is a 48 kilograms, 105 pound. And there's sometimes too, when I'm feeling good, is I'll take my big guy, 105 pounds, and I'll clip on an additional weight just for fun. But most of the times I'm just doing, my 40 kilogram bell. Because I'm kind of going for that practice mindset, and I'm trying to not be as sore the next day, so that way I can kind of do a little something every day. So that's kind of my philosophy on that. All right. And then with that is it. Well, let me go back here. So that's kind of the learning mindset, deliberate practice, Kaizen, continuous improvement. Just when you drive in your car, look at all the Toyotas. That can be a reminder of you. Continuous improvement. American manufacturers, we fell asleep at the wheel. Our executives got comfortable with just a certain level. And then what happens? Quality went down, and the consumer, they've adjusted. Okay. Curious mindset, right? Is to, when you get an idea, write it down. And then I want to go back here. Last week we talked about energy, right? Pursue something every day that excites you. And then the week before that was your pocket identity. That's a key thing as well, is make sure I still have it in my pocket here as well from the first week, writing down what would a blank person do. In my case, what would a successful VP of sales do? So that is it. This is our 4-part session here coming to a close. And like I said, keep an eye out. We're going to do a session on gratitude probably this week. I'm also going to record this and send this out to everybody. So that is the learning mindset. And I'll stay on here to just kind of answer. I'm going to just end the recording So you've got that there. I wish you guys all the best. Keep improving, keep increasing your personal levels of effectiveness, and keep accomplishing your goals. Cheers.